What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be talking Coues deer hunting gear. Now, by the time you guys see this, I will actually be on my annual Coues deer hunt down by the Arizona-Mexico border. This is going to be a 5-day hunt. We have 3 tags to fill, and this is everything I'm going to bring to try and get that done. Now, for those of you that don't know what Coues deer are, they are subspecies of whitetail. Think of like the normal ones you would see, Iowa, Ohio, everything like that. And then take them and shrink them down to the size of about a large dog. And that is what you're looking through your binos at like 1,000 yards. They're incredibly frustrating creatures. And you know what? I've just fallen in love with hunting them. Partially because of the trip, partially because of the company, but partially because they're just really cool animals. So without further ado, let's kind of get into, let's start with the logistics of what we're kind of doing. So Coues deer live within 2 states here in the US, basically. Arizona and New Mexico. I've never hunted them in New Mexico. I would imagine all this gear would work just fine for it, but this is what I'm using for Arizona. And for those of you that have not hunted Arizona, there is not a lot of like backcountry to it. Most units have no wilderness in it or very little, and lots of roads. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do a backpacking style hunt, but it's just not super common here. I know people that do it, they go into some of the larger wilderness areas, but for the most part, you're doing a lot of truck camping. Now, that may not always be the adventure that you were looking for, but I can promise you, sometimes it is a welcome relief and break. So for this hunt, we have glassing points from a road a mile out to 2 miles away. We're gonna hike in every morning and we're gonna go back to camp every single night. So you'll notice right off the bat that there is some stuff missing. I basically have my gear divided up into 2 things. The gear I bring in a tote and the gear I bring on my back in a pack. Now, this is not going to cover my sleeping stuff because again, we're truck camping. I'm not doing a backpack style hunt. You have so many options. You can bring a cot, you can bring a normal inflatable mattress, you can bring a full-size blow-up mattress, you can bring blankets, you can bring a sleeping bag. I literally bring the pillow from my house. I don't even use my backcountry pillow because I want to be comfortable. So for me, I bring a cot, I bring my normal Western mountaineering bag. It is fairly light, it's fairly packable, but it's also warm, and that's my main concern for this. You can really bring any sleeping bag you want though. We're gonna do an 8-person tent, give us all plenty of room to spread out our gear and stuff at night. And beyond that, we get some of the creature comforts of home. A chair. We're gonna bring literally a 2-burner stove, pots, pans, actual food at night. I know it's again potentially not the adventure you're looking for, but I promise you sometimes it is a welcome relief. So without further ado, let's jump into the gear on the table. I'm gonna get rid of my pack. We'll start with what's in the bin. That's usually the little bit less exciting stuff. All right, so obviously everything, well, not everything, you can see there's still a lot of clothes in there, my extra clothes, but a representation of everything from my tote is in here. And usually what I keep in my tote is things that either aren't going with me or are going on my body. Now we'll start with some basics. I like to bring a change of clothes literally for every day. It's one of the few hunts I get to do this on. So I don't want to wear nasty stuff every single day. So I like to start over, fresh, new, every single day. Pants, shirt, underwear, socks, everything. Beyond that, on my body, the boots. I wear these pretty much every hunt I go on. Crispy Altitudes. Did a review on them. You guys can check out. I'll actually throw the link to the video down below. These are great boots, but really just having any boots that are going to chew through the rocks. These Coues deer live in really, really tough places. So having good boots is gonna make a world of difference. Now moving on from that, gators, the other one's over there. But there are a lot of sticks, twigs, cactus needles, burrs. The desert absolutely hates you. So keeping things out of your boots is going to be a big deal. Having these gaiters to really seal up your pants and where your boots meet is really invaluable for this type of hunt. Now these will be going in bags, but they're tags, all right? I have the 2 peoples that I'm hunting with. They got delivered to my house. They get them tomorrow when we leave. But it's always a good reminder, check your gear, make sure you have your tags. My tags are already in my bag. Remember, pen, whatever you need to do to really fill this tag once you harvest an animal. Now moving on, I cannot recommend enough camp shoes. Scott loves Crocs. This is my first foray into Crocs. I went to Crocs conveniently because I always wear flip-flops at night when I have to get up, go to the bathroom, anything like that. Arizona, again, is in the desert. The desert hates you. I have kicked one too many cactuses in my life in the middle of the night while I'm trying to pee, and it is really a downer to the whole experience. So, whether you go with Crocs, whether you go with something else, for a hunt like this, guys, bring camp shoes. You don't want to have to throw on your boots every single night if you got to get up and go to the bathroom. This is going on my body. This is my Hill People Gear chest harness. Cannot say enough good things about this. I don't even run a bino harness anymore. For the type of hunting I do, I find that very rarely am I pulling out my binoculars and glass, and it's mostly off of a tripod. So this really does everything that I need it to. It's a lot more comfortable. It's got a radio. We can use radios in Arizona, but it's also good. Everyone in my group has one, so that if we get separated, we can find each other, we can check in, somebody gets hurt, something like that, we can coordinate efforts. I don't know that I would ever go into any sort of backcountry or Western hunting situation without a radio. It's just gonna be a huge lifesaver for you in the event something bad happens. Super cheap insurance policy, guys. Take care of yourselves, get back to your family safe. Now beyond that, in here, I keep my rangefinder. It's a Leupold 1300 RX 1300i. I don't think they even make it anymore. They probably moved on to newer models. It's a couple of years old. I keep a Kestrel wind meter, all right? Probably a little bit of overkill. A lot of people can estimate the wind just by looking at it. However, when I'm taking a 500-600 yard shot at a deer, if I have the time, it is always better to be precise on these things. It really makes a difference. Precision shooting is called that for a reason. So the more exact your numbers can be, the better. This has two other pockets. In my first pocket, I just keep some extra stuff. It's got a round holder, Allen wrenches. Allen wrenches, a nice lightweight set, always a good thing to have. A lot of hunting gear uses Allen screws and everything, so having a nice lightweight set with real small, fine Allen wrenches has proved invaluable to me. And finally, in my back one, I will acknowledge that Arizona is not the safest place you will ever hunt, especially down by the border, so a Glock 43X never hurts. So, moving on from this Hill People Gear harness, really all we gotta talk about is food. I'll do another video on what I actually bring and what I pack, but food for a day, I like to put it all in a Ziploc bag so that when I get trash, I can just throw it back in. Keeps it nice and sealed up, keeps everything separated so I don't have to pack it each day, and I'm ready to go as soon as I wake up. I like to sleep, so the more time I can spend sleeping and not having to do things like wake up early to pack my bag, the happier I am. And the last thing is my Jetboil. I use a Jetboil stash. I haven't been thrilled with it. I've used a couple of different Jetboils. This one's all right. It doesn't stash quite as well as I was hoping it would, but it's done its job. For something like this, where it is not a backcountry hunt, I'm going to and from the truck every single day. I don't even bring this out with me, all right? During the day, we stay out all day, and I'm just eating snacks, protein bars, crackers, tuna packets, stuff like that. I'll use this to cook breakfast in the morning, and I'll use this to help with dinner at night. But if I can save the weight and not bring it, I'm going to, so this doesn't even go out in the field with me. Now this final thing is just what I keep my food in. It just makes it nice and bright in my pack so that I can find it very easily. When you're hungry, you don't want to waste any time, so having this, lifesaver. But that's it. That's what's in the tote. Not a lot, mostly clothes, all right? Like I said, this is one of the rare opportunities where I get to smell nice and fresh and not have to wear nasty stuff at every single day. So if I get a chance, I'm gonna bring all the clothes. There's 5 different sets of clothes in here. And finally, I guess I'll mention this, I do have an extra box of ammo. I've never been fortunate enough to experience it, but I have seen videos of people getting like 10 shots at a single Coues deer. Now, I think if you're taking 10 shots at a single deer, you really need to reevaluate whether you are even in your acceptable range. But God forbid that ever happens to me. I don't want to just bring my ammo wallet. I'll always bring an extra box, I guess. Never had to dip into it. So let's get rid of the tote, and now let's talk about what I'm actually bringing out in the field with me. Probably a little bit more relevant to you guys. All right, Shazam editing gets you through the pack dump. this is what goes in my pack. For those of you that don't know, what I run for my pack is a Kifaru frame with an Exo Mountain K3 3200 bag on it. It's kind of a Franken pack. I have a couple of videos on the channel for it. I'll throw those down below as well. But I really like the Kifaru frame for the comfort and how it handles weight and everything. But as far as a design, that Exo bag is by far the best one I've owned. I've owned a ton of different brands: Kifaru, Exo Mountain, Mystery Ranch, Stone Glacier, and that is what by far has blown me away and I've settled on. So that is what I use for a pack. I'm not gonna throw it up here, but a lot of this is standard issue stuff for me. It goes with me on every single hunt. We'll start up front, get the big stuff out of the way. These are just my warming layers. This is just a Sitka shirt. I think I got it on Camo Fire. It's one of their medium weight ones, all right? I bring it with me pretty much every hunt. It's super lightweight, and it's a great mid layer to throw on if it's cool, but not cold. For those of you that don't know, I hate being cold, so having something like this is really invaluable. All right, this is my true warming layers. It is my Kifaru Lost Park Parka set, okay? I've used this a couple of different times now. It is incredible at keeping you warm. I think one of our days, the low temperature is like 24 degrees, gonna be real chilly. So having something like this that I can start glassing in the morning, I'm not sitting there shivering, not being able to hold the binos steady in the tripod, everything like that, is really invaluable pieces of gear to have. And I've found that this Kifaru Lost Park Parka set has been a lot more durable than some of your other down things like Coues, Sitka, things of that nature. So for me, I really have enjoyed this. It is really warm. It does a pretty good job breaking the wind, despite the fact that it has no wind breaking technology in it. And it has just done a great job of keeping me warm on my hunts. And then this is kind of what is actually going in my pack. You'll see it looks like a lot, but a lot of it is just warming layers that can press down. Everything else is pretty standard, all right? So I'll start rifle, my Bergara Ridge B14, dropped in an XLR chassis. Normally I use the Kifaru gun bearer. However, in a situation like this, we are mostly hiking in the dark, all right? If we see a deer, we're gonna hike to it, but we got a lot of time to get set up typically because they are bedded and you're waiting for them to get up. So I like having the folding stock. It will actually go not in my gun bearer on this. It'll just go on my back, so that is a little bit more convenient, and thus the folding stock is a little bit more convenient. All right, it's in 6.5 PRC, obviously a can on it. However, not everyone in my group runs a can. In fact, I am the only one, so I always bring Ear Pro. Whether it's these, whether it's foamies. I know foamies weigh a lot less, they're just not as comfortable. Bring Ear Pro, guys. Don't be the ones that can't hear when you're 60, 70 years old and really wish you would have. Moving on in the rifle stuff, Caribou Gear ammo wallet, holds 10 rounds if you need it. I rarely keep all 10 rounds in here. I do have the slot in my Hill People gear, 4 more rounds if I want. This is the first hunt I have that, so I'm kind of playing with it. Still undecided on it. I'll, I guess, update you guys later. Game bags. This is also Caribou Gear. These are made for elk, just because I hate buying something that can't be multi-purpose. All right, apparently the sun's out now. Sorry for the lighting change. But 2 Coues deer quarters will fit in these game bags. So, I mean, they're gonna be a little bit overkill on size, but again, I like something that can be multi-function. I have a bone knife in here, and then I have a fairly lightweight knife. It's a goat knife. Haven't really put it to a test yet. Hopefully this is the hunt. Move on, again, things I bring with me every time. Hat, gloves, go with me every single hunt, no matter what. You never know when you're gonna be cold. Again, things that go with me every single time, first aid kit and tourniquet. Folks, again, insurance policies. This is super lightweight, super easy to carry. You would be silly not to bring it, all right? You never know when you're gonna be 2 miles back, slip cutting up a quarter on an elk or something like that, fall, cut yourself on a branch, and suddenly these items are what's gonna keep you alive and get you back to your family. Not to be dramatic, but that is the situations you guys can find yourselves in. Boot laces and blister tape always comes, always worth it. You blow out a lace in the backcountry and you don't have 550 cord or extra laces, you're in for a real bad day. Spoon, this one's from MSR. It is metal. That is the thing I love most about it. It's a little bit heavier than some of the other ones I've used, just by a hair. But what I like about this is I can throw in my pack and it is never gonna come out broken. Some of my plastic ones have. Up front here, should be in your camera view, but if not, I'll pick it up. My tags, all right? Like I said, don't forget those. Game and Fish, Wildlife Management, whoever you call it in your state or your country, really gonna be mad if you don't have those on you. So that is like the first thing you guys should pack. I always carry a fairly lightweight rear bag, all right? You just never know when you're gonna have time to get that perfect situation, perfect setup, and whatever I can do to increase my lethality, I think that's a word, on game animals, I will always bring it. So, fairly lightweight, I think it's less than a pound, and it has been worth its weight in gold. My scope cam digiscoping adapter, I've done a review on this. I will throw that link as well. But what I like about this, it's universal. You just clamp it onto any bino, spotting scope. I guess you probably could find a way to do it on like a camera lens, something like that, but works really well. Just hook your phone up to it. Works on any phone, works on any binocular and any spotting scope I have found. I always bring a tarp. All right, this is great for a couple of different things. One, obviously keeping rain off, but you're not gonna run into that too often in Coues deer country. Doesn't rain a ton. Not gonna say it hasn't happened, but it doesn't happen often. What this is great for is keeping the sun off you in the middle of the day. I think our highs are anywhere from 60 up to 70 degrees. So that sun in Arizona over the course of a day can start to roast you. But if you get a deer down, it is also great for quartering out your animal, taking care of it, putting the meat on it so it doesn't get dirty and nasty. This is just a toiletries bag. Inside you will find dude wipes, toilet paper, an ace bandage, and some ever important aspirin. As the days start to mount up, that aspirin becomes more important. Going up and down mountain for days after days, you start getting sore. So that is a lifesaver to bring. Now these next 3 pieces of gear are really where I've made some concessions to not bring something so that I could bring something else, all right? I bring 2 Nalgene bottles with me, okay? One's a 48 ounce, 48? I don't know what that is. So it's a 48 ounce. One's a 32 ounce, all right? One keeps water in it, one usually keeps like an electrolyte powder, and I try and drink both of them throughout the day. Again, it gets somewhat warm and we're doing a lot of hiking sometimes, so keeping hydrated is important. But you will notice I do not have a hydration bladder, all right? That's for a couple of reasons. One, I like to keep my hydration bladder pocket empty. I'll explain that in a second. But 2, in Arizona, again, the desert absolutely hates you. So I've seen bladders that get set down on rocks, accidentally get set down on some cactus, something like that. They get poked, they get prodded, they break, and now suddenly you don't have water. So having these hard-sided Nalgene bottles, to me, is a better solution in a desert environment. Again, it also keeps my bladder pocket empty, and it lets me bring my Crazy Creek chair. Now I really like this over a standard glassing pad. Throughout the entirety of the day, my back starts to get sore, my back starts to get tired if I'm really leaned forward just looking at my binos for hours and hours and hours. So having something that I can cinch nice and tight and pull the back of this chair right up to me and keep me in those binos, I mean, realistically, it just increases my odds of finding a deer, which is really what this is all about. So this is a really important piece of gear to me. Also, you can detach the clips, lay it out, and suddenly it becomes a shooting mat. Again, rocks, cactus needles, burrs, everything like that. If you have something to go prone on, it is immensely helpful. So this really serves 2 purposes and it's worth its weight in gold to me. I will set that back up here. Trekking poles, these go with me on pretty much every hunt. They're lifesavers. This one doesn't have a cap. I won't talk to you guys about my camera gear, but you can see camera screws on that bad boy so we can get video for you guys, hopefully. So the last thing we need to talk about is this glass that I just unpacked, my whole glass setup. Now I think Coues deer, more so than just about any Western game except maybe sheep and goats, really requires letting your glass do the walking for you. So with that said, let's start with my tripod, and it is right over there underneath you folks on the camera. It is a Slick 733. You don't have to spend that much money on a tripod. I can tell you that the more money you spend, it is nice. I found this one to be one of the better ones, But with that said, I have used $50, $100 tripods. They've worked just fine. They're not as nice as this one, but they do work. The imperative thing is having a tripod in general. All right, that is going to save you guys a ton of time, keeps your binos steady, lets you glass a lot longer and a lot harder. Now, speaking of glassing, let's jump into my binos. They're the Maven B5 15x56s. I've used them on a couple of different hunts now. Don't have any real complaints about them. They've done great finding game, elk, mule deer, a bear, everything like that. Now, to attach them to the tripod, I use the Outdoorsman setup, the stud, and the bino adapter. Cannot say enough good things about this. I went to this several years ago. It is really sturdy. It is rock solid, and I have zero complaints about how it has worked. I can tell you pretty much everyone in my group has gone to this. It works well enough that through my glowing review, they now have glowing reviews, and it is kind of spreading. Lots of people swear by these. If you are looking to replace it, look no further really than Outdoorsman. Now let's talk about the last piece of glass. Right over here is my spotting scope. Spotting scopes and I have a unique relationship of being kind of love-hate. I'm really torn on them, but for a hunt like this where I'm looking for a tiny creature, and then on that tiny creature I have to tell whether it's a buck or a doe, a spotting scope is really handy when I'm not that far from the truck and I have room in my pack. Now Scott usually carries the spotting scope for us. He's not coming this time, so I am up. This right here, Athlon Cronus G2 20-60 by 86. Sorry I don't have the numbers perfectly memorized, and that's because this is its maiden voyage. Now in the past I've ran a smaller spotting scope, wasn't necessarily thrilled with it, so we're gonna see if the bigger glass is going to be the solution, get a little bit of variance between my 15 power binos, and really let me reach out a ways and be able to tell what's a buck and a doe from a Coues deer. So stay tuned, I'll probably have an update on this, but right now, I'm just telling you I'm bringing a spotting scope. Not gonna tell you whether this Cronus is good or bad. I've been impressed with it looking out at my back window, in my backyard, things of that nature, but that only goes so far. Don't have a ton of time behind it yet. So that's it, guys. That is what I bring on a Coues deer hunt for 5 days. Now, I think not only can you adapt this for Coues deer, but probably anything in the American Southwest. If you're looking pronghorn, mule deer, sheep, even an Arizona bear, this is probably a good jumping off point for you. So if you stumbled across this in your research for a different species, don't overlook it. But with that said, if you guys got any questions, jump on down, let me know in the comments. I gotta pack all this back up. My wife still got a honey-do list for me, and I leave tomorrow. So I'm gonna let you guys go. If you liked it, jump on down, hit the thumbs up. And you know what? We're getting really close to 1,000 subscribers, which is a magical number in YouTube. It lets us do a lot of cool things for you. So if you could, jump on down, hit that free subscribe button. But until next time, I'm Matt with Deer and Donuts. Goodbye.